everyone, and welcome. It's Annette Green back again. It's week 25 of 2024, and every week I do a crafty or craft related video. And today it's all about trying to finish up one of my traveler's notebooks here, my little TN with Elizabeth Craft Designs that I decorated the cover of. And I am trying to finish out documenting a cruise that I took this past November. Thought that we would use some new dies, new stamps from David with Elizabeth Craft Designs to show you how I'm going to finish that out. But I just want to share with you a couple of other TNs that I've made. This one is not complete yet either. That's from a retreat last year. But I do love these little TNs. They're such a great way to document a little trip or an event. And I use flip flaps and all kinds of fun things when I do these. And I do have videos for several of these. I will try to find those links and put them in the description below. But yes, this is a trip to Chicago for this one. Very fun. I love to make these. They're just quick, simple little things. And so I'm going to share some tips and some ideas today as I finish this one up. So let's start right in with some tips. You know, like when you're doing something like this and you know you're going to do this, before you even go on a trip, you can get the book kind of ready with themed papers. So that's how this one started off. It was just some catch of the day paper from Graphic 45, some blank pages, and you know, I threw some tags in there, a little bit of embellishment just for journaling, and little pockets and tags. There actually is a tutorial video in my Etsy shop on how I made this one, so you can check that out, and I'll link my shop below. Some of these are little side loading vellum pockets, so it's a fun little album to get ready before a trip, and it's perfect for summer or for a cruise like I'm going to do. Get your album ready ahead of time with just some basic pages, and then as you're on your trip, I recommend taking notes, and that's what I do every time I go on a trip. Each day, at the end of the day, I just jot down a little bit of something we did, what we ate, you know, everything, in addition to the photos, because sometimes you just don't remember. What's especially helpful on a cruise is to print out or save a copy of the cruise compass each day. This is Royal Caribbean. They do this wonderful, you know, what day of the cruise it is, the date, where you were on that particular day, of course the name of the ship in case you forget that. But yeah, so this gives you all kinds of details each day. So I save all of those and print them out and keep them with the rest of this stuff when I'm ready to scrapbook. Of course, I save everything, you know, what time is it in St. Martin and how you have to change the time zone. And I save boarding passes if I'm flying somewhere. I accumulate any kind of themed sticker packs. This is the sticker book from Simple Stories, Simple Vintage, Vintage Seas, which is perfect. I've been using a lot of these in this particular TN. I also have, and I don't know if I'll use them in this one or my other one, these are the Wherever rub-on transfers from 49 and Market. Those are pretty great too. So just kind of gather those things ahead of time. Super helpful. Some things you can do ahead is, you know, if you have papers that have these wonderful little things on them, you can pre-cut out the embellishments. And a lot of times this is what I take with me on the actual cruise. So I get some things cut and ready, little labels, little tags, you know, stamped phrases like getaway, let's wander where the Wi-Fi is weak. I just go through all my stamp sets, and then I go through my paper collections and I cut out little things like that. Now, what we have that's brand new from David, very exciting. So David has a new release that just came out. It's called Remember Moments, the whole release. And it's got wonderful stamps. This one is CS363, the passport stamp set. Going to be perfect for this and any TN really. Travel Phrases is another stamp set. I'm going to link all of this below. Let's look at the stamps first. Wonky Letters is fun. I don't know if I'll use that one in my TN. Textures, always good for backgrounds and such. And this one is great. Around the World stamp and die set together, which is great. I have used that. And then this is more for your ATC, classic ATC stamps, but you know, you can always incorporate some of these fun, pretty things into your TN. Okay, and then he's got this wonderful romance die set. This fits the passport size, which is what I'm using. I don't know if I'm going to work that into this one in particular because I'm really getting tight over here and it's very full, but there's a lot of great things in this one. This really pretty pocket I love. Yeah, and some of these medallion kind of things. So that's cool. And there is something here that says moment, this moment with an outline. So that could be fun. This one's great. It's called Remember. The first one was called Romance. This is Remember. This fits in the bigger art journal if you're going to do the whole page, but you can see there's some embellishments in here that are fun. This airplane, this layered airplane, there's a camera, there's film strips. So I might play with some of those. I have already cut quite a few pieces from the classic ATC because I like these frames, and I'll show you. I've already done some, and some of these little labels I've already cut out, but there is a little envelope there, or kind of like a pocket. And then this one is called Journal Sleeves Fillers, which we'll talk about the journal sleeves. Those are new too. But again, there's some really nice frames that fit great in a little TN. There's this nice little oval, almost like a cameo style frame that's super pretty. I did one of those. And part of that collection, he's got a couple of stencils over there because it's more of the art journal specials line that David is with. But this one is called the Journal Sleeves. And these are brand new. These are like those peel and stick little flip flaps. And there's different sizes in here. And I haven't tried these yet. I have used the Close to My Heart ones prior to now, but these are great. They're square ones, which will not fit in my particular TN today because I'm using the passport size, but there's a little smaller square that probably will fit. And of course, there's some rectangles in here right there that are going to be perfect. Of course, you can't see anything because they're clear, but they're great. And then there's, I think that's the ideal size. There's a little smaller rectangle there too. So there's two different rectangle sizes that I can use for the TN that I'm working in. Okay, and it's been a while since I have shared something like this. A lot of people ask me, how do I get my photos the size that they are at home? And what do I use? What kind of photo paper do I use? And so forth. So here I am on my laptop. I'm showing you that I use Photoshop Elements. It's not the full up Photoshop. It's just your basic Elements program, which is great for home hobbyists. And I have already gone into a couple of photos, like 6 photos here, that I know that I want. I know what size I want them. I've already determined that by measuring in my little TN. And so I have pulled those in from my phone to Photoshop Elements. And so the first thing that I do is I start a new document that's 8.5 by 11 inches, because that's the size of my paper. And I make sure that my resolution is 300 pixels per inch. That's kind of important for nice sharp photos. Okay, so then I would just go to the very first photo I want to resize here. And you can do this a number of ways without getting too terribly technical. I know that my photo I want is going to be 2 1/8 by 3 1/8 in size. So you could just, go to image and resize, but you might not get that even 2 1/8 and 3 1/8 this way. It might not work out with the proportion of your photo. So what I'd rather do is use the cropping tool and type in that measure, 2.125 by 3.125. That's an eighth. And then over here, make sure my resolution is 300 pixels per inch on this photo. So you see, it's already given me the ratio size here. And now I can move this around and determine how much do I want of the photo. I can get more sky if I want to. I think this is good. The main idea is I want the sign. So then I click the check mark and it resized it nicely. And here I can do some adjustments as far as, lighting and brightening of the photo. It's just that I'm very familiar with Photoshop Elements. So whatever photo program you have, I encourage you to use that. So now that I have that one photo ready to go, all touched up, I look for that new blank file down here. I think you can see it down there in my little photo bin. This is where all my photos are in Photoshop Elements. So there's my little blank page. Now I can just grab this photo, and I'm clicking right in the middle of it, and drag it to my blank page. And that's where I would position it, maybe about 1/2 of an inch away from the top and the left edge of the paper. Okay, so there it is. And now I would do that with each photo. I just go in, do my edits, and then drag and drop onto that same paper. So let me do that and I'll show you my whole page when I get done. And just in case you were like wondering, how did she go from 1/8 to 0.125? It's very easy to go from a fraction to a decimal. So you would just do 1 divided by 8. That's your fraction. And that's where you get the 0.125. Because I just came across one that was 13/16. So I thought, well, I'll share that real quick. So if my measure was 1 and 13/16, it would be 1.8125. Okay, and I happen to have like a leftover sheet. You can see I had cut away some photos from this previously, so I had this sheet. I just used it up to show you just a few photos at a time, how everything comes out when you print it onto that page. I've been preparing already. In my TN, I have assembled these two. See, the inner one has like a stitch, and the outer one is just a colored frame, so that's perfect. That's how I size those photos I was showing you a moment ago. And then I've got these cut out, and I have sort of a plan for these to go this way on opposing pages. So those are ready. I've got this ready. You know, I don't really know what photos are going on them yet, but I just have them ready to go. I did cut out a couple of those pretty frames like I talked about, the oval kind of cameo style. I've got a bunch of nested labels ready. Don't know what I'm going to use them for yet, but just have them ready. That's the key. And then I've cut out a bunch of stuff. Actually, let's stick with David's line right now. So a couple of things from his stamp sets I went ahead and got ready. A couple of journaling cards that say today. I stamped and dyed with the matching coordinating die. Vacation time. Stamped and dyed out a couple of the fun hot air balloons. You know, I don't really know exactly where I'll use them yet. I've got a couple of compasses. I've got a little camera. I have the little globe. These are so much fun. And then this square sort of postage stampy one that says summer holidays. I have those already. And then I did stamp and fussy cut out a couple of these from that passport style stamp set. And there's one more over here, a little claim check, teeny tiny little label. And making memories I did in blue, and let the adventure begin I did in black. So I have all that stuff just ready with no particular plan. Oh, I have a few more over here. Check number, luggage, and the good life. So I have all that ready. Also, because this is like, you know, very nautical with reds and blues and white, I thought, well, perfect with Esther's the book number 4. And of course, I meant to say the book number 7, Reminiscence, the book 7, not 4. And there it is. So I pre-cut out, even though these are a bit large, I might cut some of these down, but I pre-cut out some tags and a bunch of other things from her paper collection, like approved and special and first class, like little journaling things. Library card style things, little labels, little tags. I just kind of randomly found some things and cut them out. Okay, so I have a cutting mat here, and I like to do this not with my paper trimmer necessarily. I feel like I have a little bit more control when I do it with a craft knife and a ruler. And my ruler has a little metal edge so that I don't cut into the plastic, but I will go around and cut all these out. They're already sized and ready to go. As I'm cutting these out, I thank you for joining me today. If you're new here, a special welcome and thank you for being here. And if you're returning, of course, thank you so much. Some of you may have the Canon selfie printer, and I have one, and I bring that with me when I travel if I think that I'm going to have time to actually do any kind of memory keeping on the go. And I love that little printer, and I've shown probably several videos on that particular printer and how I like to use it and some little tips and tricks to using it. So I will link to that below. There has been a new model of the Canon selfie since mine, but as I'm reading the reviews, I'm finding that there's some new features that aren't as good as the old features. So I'm going to stick with my older one. I was thinking about upgrading, but I'm pretty happy with it. Now, again, you might be asking, well, why didn't you just use that for these little photos? Because it is handy for small photos. I am still trying to figure out how to get exact measurements on the Canon selfie, like I can do in Photoshop Elements. And I haven't figured it out yet. So a lot of times if I am just exclusively using the selfie, I just kind of ballpark. I try to guess best I can and make it work. So when I'm home, I do like to do it this way with Photoshop Elements. By the way, the printer that I use is a Canon Pixma TR8620. Again, it's a good couple years old now, but just a fantastic printer. And I use HP Advanced Glossy Photo Paper. But that's just me. Some people like matte photos or you know, like a softer gloss. I just use your basic glossy photo paper in my Canon printer, and it is an inkjet printer. So I have all my photos printed and ready to go, and these two I have planned to go onto here, but you can see we have these little notchy corners. So I'm just going to grab my Wear Memory Keepers stub and scallop corner punch, and I'm testing it out on a scrap to see, is that going to work pretty well? And I think it will, so I'm just going to do that right onto my photos for these two frames. If you didn't have this particular punch, you could use a small circle punch and just kind of nip off those corners, but that looks pretty good. I know we have a little bit of a glare here, but that looks pretty good, right? So I'll do that to this one too. Okay, as I'm sticking some of this stuff down, I thought I would mention that because these TNs, they get so full with all your photos and all your stuff, I tend to want to use liquid glue all the time because I don't want anything popping up. And also I came across a little postage stamp washi tape from 49 Market, also in that Wherever brand. So I've been adding some of that here and there as well. So I've got my photo down here. I've got my day 4. And this is a little crooked, so I'm going to fix that really quick. Sometimes you have people's, you know, face in your photos, or somebody in there, not necessarily photo bombing, but just, you know, someone in the photo that isn't part of your subject matter. That's a good place to do a little overlap photo. So I'm going to cover those folks up. Especially, you know, us YouTubers that are showing pictures, if there's pictures of other people or children in particular, we are really not allowed to do that. So it's good to cover those up anyway. So I think I'm going to just go ahead and layer this up, and I feel like this page is pretty cute. And I'll work on the opposing page next, and we'll just do a couple pages like this, and then what I'll do is I'll get it all the way finished and give you a full walkthrough at the end. Cut apart that little embellishment there because I want to use the other half in the lower right corner there. So we'll put this at the bottom, get our photo kind of decided upon here, and then this will kind of come out from under here, I think. And we can snip this off. We don't need that. So that will be under there, and that'll be cute. Okay, so my first little spread is done there. It's not my first, it's the one first today. I have a lot done already here. But I thought I would show you very quickly, like these journal sleeves. Now, these are not the journal sleeves in particular from Elizabeth Craft Designs, but they're very similar. These are the ones from Close to My Heart, which Close to My Heart is now retired. So these flip-flaps are no longer available, so this is a great new alternative we are offering here at Elizabeth Craft Designs with the journal sleeves, because they do the same thing. So if you need more space on a particular page, you can do that with these journaling sleeves. They just peel and stick and have a little hinge to them, especially in this retreat little TN from a couple years ago when we had the retreat in Colorado. It just buys you so much more space, and you can hinge top and bottom or on the sides, and play around with it. It just gains you that much more room for your photos. I think we'll do one more little spread here before I go all on my own and try to finish up. I just wanted to show you I am going to use these cute little frame pieces that I've cut from David's set, and I believe I want those two like that, so I have those photos already ready, and then I have two photos that are going to be horizontal that will go over here. Now these photos are smaller and these frames are smaller, so the little radius of the corners is different than using my We Are Memory Keepers punch like I did earlier. So I'm just going to use a teeny little circle punch here. I think this is like a 3/4 inch. It's small, and just nip those corners off. If you didn't have a little circle punch like this, you could definitely just snip it with your scissors, but that's going to work out nicely. And I'm just eyeballing. I didn't really measure how far in I went or anything like that. So I'll get all 4 of these ready and onto my photo mats so I can get them on my page. Okay, and this little page is done. And here's another little tip. When I put the letters, the sticker letters for sun, I put them on quite crooked. So to kind of camouflage that, I just put those little star gems on there, and that kind of helps. But it's a very simple and fun little spread. Okay, so I'm going to have some playtime and get this all finished up. I did pull out my postage stamps die set for Elizabeth Craft Designs because the smallest postage stamp right here is sized perfectly for my travel and postage stamp set. And there's a lighthouse one there with a ship's wheel, there's a sailboat and such. So you'll see that in a moment when I get that together. I also have this die set, the borders and trims, because it has waves, it has a chain, it's got rope. It's going to be perfect for borders on some of these pages. And then I grabbed phrases and dingbats, which has words like ahoy or special friends, it's your day, world's best, you know, lots of phrases. And then all these cute dingbats, and then there's a couple of ship's wheels there and clocks and planes and things. So I'm going to incorporate that as I finish this book out. Okay, you saw that page. I went back and did this one, a little journaling. I did this one real quick and this one. And then I thought I would stop here and kind of show you how to do some of those journal flappy things. Let's call them the proper name, journal sleeves. Okay, so I have on my page some base photo mats, and those mats come from David's set, the journal sleeves fillers one, which is perfect. Okay, so I cut 2 out of blue, 2 out of red, and 2 out of a light blue. And these are in the little sleeve pockets, and these have, you know, this is craft on the back, this is the same light blue on the back of that. And then I went to my photos and I sized all these accordingly to be matted and fit into my little journal sleeves. So I just need to decide what order they're going to go in, get them on there, and then I'll show you how I'm going to attach them to my book. Okay, so how we're going to do this is I'm going to take the first flippy flappy and I'm going to put it on the photo mat. Now, I would recommend doing this, not putting this bottom photo on first. Put it on last. So that one's kind of messed up, but we're going to save it. It'll be all right. But these have the sticky on this flap. So you do have, it comes flat, and you do have to fold it back, right? And now the peel and stick is back here. So we want to get our photo in there first because it'll be much more strong. So we have these ladies that we will slide in here, and you have to remember, because it's going to flip and flap, you know, vertically, that when it flaps open, you need to make sure you put your photo on this way. You don't want to put them both on the same way, otherwise when this flips open, of course, it'll be upside down. Okay, so now that we have that correct, we will peel, and I did a nice burnished fold on that flap, and I will put this right down over our photo mat. Okay, and the reason why I say to put down this first and then the photo here is so that you kind of cover up that little bit of that flap. But we need to do one more, and that's the one that goes over the top of this. So that's this one, and we'll pop this in here with these ladies. peel. And again, the photos, you need to make sure they flip. We'll peel this or push this back, and I'm going to just sort of nest it on top like so before I put it down, just to make sure everything lines up nicely. And we'll get that one down. Okay, we can get this out of the way now and give this a press. Okay, and now is when I would take this photo and pop it in here, and now you're sealing down any of those folded edges on your flaps, and they're not coming down over the top of your base photo or whatever you have on the bottom layer there. So I'm going to get this really nice with a lot of glue all the way out to the edges, and then we'll pop that one right in the middle. Okay, and give that a bit of a press. Okay, so I'll do the same thing over here, and I'm just going to have to accommodate that the photo is down first, but I think it's going to be fine. That second one on there, it's not too bad. I mean, I do see that it's on top of the photo, but it's clear, so it's all right. I went down a little bit lower and then a little bit higher on those, just to kind of camouflage that a bit. But oh boy, this is getting really, really thick, but I am almost finished. Need to do a little bit more embellishing here. Now you could do some cute things, like I saw David put a little magnet so this stayed closed. You'd have to put that on between your layers, of course, before your photos go down. If you were concerned about that and wanted that to stay flat, it doesn't bother me, because once the book is closed, it's closed, and it's not going to flap around. Okay, just to get a few more of these travel phrases, David's stamp set with all these wonderful words on these bars. I've already done one set. I put it on my little mini Misty here and just grabbed the phrases that I wanted, and I did it in red, and then I'm going to do the same ones in blue, and this is where the stamp platform is really ideal, because you could put all the phrases on here probably and fit them on here to stamp all at once, and if something doesn't come out great, you can just stamp it again in the same position. See, we have a few places there, but I see the ink is here, so I just need to press a little harder in those few spaces. Looks good. Didn't even have to ink up the stamp anymore. It looks pretty good. And by all means, this is something that you can do ahead of a trip before you even start your journey, and have these things at the ready, just like the embellishments I showed you. Okay, I finished. My goodness, look at this thing. I even had to take out like a whole bunch. I took out 2 actually total from the original tutorial. This one was in the back, and then the one in the front I had to take out. So it's all just bound in there by one, which is not what I recommend. So something to keep in mind when you are doing one of these TNs and you want to do 3 signatures, I would start with maybe 5 or 6 pages total per section. And by the time you start embellishing and adding your photos and everything, it's going to expand, as you can see. But I'm so happy that I stuck with it. I had just a few things left over that I didn't use, which I will definitely save, because I'm getting ready to go and teach on a cruise again in September. If you need information about that, I will link that below. We were full. We had some last-minute cancellations, so there might be some availability for this September out of Miami on the new Icon of the Seas with Royal Caribbean. So you can check that out and see if there's any more availability. Don't want to forget to mention that I will be teaching and cruising again next year in 2025, and it's already starting to fill up, believe it or not. It's going to Alaska, and that's probably why. It is a crafting cruise, and it's in the middle of May of 2025. So again, you'll have Donna's contact information if you're interested in details about that. All right, let's take a quick spin through of the whole thing. Okay, just a quick look. I'm just going to flip through, not talk about it too much. Just journaling cards were used from Graphic 45. There's my room key, and I added the little pocket. It's not part of the TN, and I said at the beginning that I decorated the cover. It's just like a jeans TN that is no longer available. It has this little pocket, but there are other TNs available with Elizabeth Craft Designs. So here we go. getting ready for the cruise. My little airline claim check. What we did the day before the cruise, going and getting a pedicure together, Tiffany and I, getting our toes pretty. Had a family get together with the girls here and headed to the port after a little breakfast. And I've got a little pull-out tag here. This is us on board getting our first drink. And we had a little surprise gift from Tiffany's bosses waiting for us on the ship, which was super nice. Exploring the ship, getting the lay of the land, as they say. Stopping to take some pictures, just having some fun with some cruisers, our regular cruisers, like Melissa with her funny photo. It's a little bit of a story, but it's definitely a Melissa photo. Coco K, our first day. The pictures kind of speak for themselves. We had such a great time. And, you know, this is something to remember when you're on a trip and you're taking photos. You know, try to think of some unique little ideas. Like, it just hit me. We all had pretty toes and they were all different. Let's just take a picture of our toes in the sand. And there just happened to be a sticker in that 49 and Market set that said toes in the sand, which was perfect. A little more detail about the food and what we did when we were on the island. And there we are in the classroom, our first day of class. Big group of people. We had such a good time. And of course, Tiffany, my buddy, is also my work assistant. And there's Donna, who organizes all the Crafters Therapy cruises. Donna Fortuna. And then day 3, we start in with the classes because we're at sea. We had a little make and take, and we did a travel journal with 49 and Market papers. We had some prize winners, so we always took a picture of the big prize winner at the end of each class. A special treat from the chef at Royal Caribbean in our room. That was kind of a nice treat. And then here starts with one of the little flip-flap pages. This was our first formal night, and everybody was dressed up really pretty. So I just went around, I'm in every single photo, but I went around and I took a selfie with every single guest that came on the cruise with us. So that was really fun. There was a lot of us. Everybody was so kind and so gracious, and I really think that they had a good time. I hope that they did. And then day 4, we were in St. Thomas, of course. They had these iguanas that were the size of small dogs just walking around. So that was a little unnerving, but kind of cool. And then we were in St. Martin, where the time had changed, so that was interesting, and we had a great time. It was very hot, so we were like always ducking into AC places, shopping, having lunch, having a drink, a cool drink. But it was a beautiful place. We took a lot of nice photos and did some shopping. And then we had this wonderful aqua theater, like water show that was just amazing. Right on the end of the ship, it was just fantastic. So that was a really special moment. And then it was time for day 6, another sea day where I taught my second class. And so there's Tiffany and I, and then there's Melissa. She was our second prize winner for the big prize pack. Super fun. And then you saw me putting these together. These are just pictures of people having fun, sitting at their space, working in class. I didn't get everybody when I took these pictures, but I just wanted to get a handful and get that documented. And then our final formal night, and in the vellum pocket I had this fold open journaling card where I went into a lot of detail about what we did that particular day and how much fun we were having. Of course, all these wonderful embellishments from David's new collection. And then our final sea day, day 7, we had a group luncheon, which was great. Donna organized the whole thing, and we all met up together. I had to take 4 photos to get everybody in the pictures, so that was really special. And then at the end here, I just kind of included some pretty pictures. So the ocean view that we had, especially in St. Martin, it was beautiful. And then a picture of the boat, of course, at that unique angle at the end there. And there is my postage stamp die and the travel and postage stamp like this one in the front. And then just a little more of us girls in the room acting silly. And really, that was one of my favorite things about the whole experience, is just spending time with these girls like they're my own sisters. So that is it for me today. That was so much fun, and I feel so good that I finally got it done. It's only taken me since November, when the cruise was, to get it all complete. Now I will get onto my Banff Canada Retreat TN and get that finished too. It's about 2/3 of the way done, so I'm going to get that going, and maybe I'll share that in a future video. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week in the next crafty video.